My dear students of class 4, Faridpur Government Girls High School, I am extremely sorry that I could not take the class on a right time, that means at 10 a.m. today, because there was no electricity in my locality from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's why I am here. So, dear students, welcome all of you to Faridpur Government Girls High School online class. Here, as usual, this is me, your Rusel sir, to conduct today's English class. So, dear students, look at the question. Read the text and answer the questions from 5, 6, 7 and 8. Actually, in the last classes, I discussed about question number 9, WS question number 10, instruction answer, and question number 11. And today, I want to discuss question number 8. Actually, since the year is going to the last, so I want to discuss the hard questions at first. So I have started from the last, and today I will discuss on question number 8. So dear students, this question will come into question paper in this way. Read the text and answer the question 5, 6, 7 and 8. That means this will be an unseen passage. That means you have not read it in your English for Today book. So, reading this unseen passage, you have to answer question number 5, 6, 7 and 8. So, today I will discuss only question number 8, I have told sometimes before. So, this is a passage and you have to read this passage, you have to understand this passage, then you have to answer the question number 8. I have not written question number 5, 6 and 7 because today I don't want to discuss them. So, question number 8, look at the questions, what will be written there or how will be written there. Look, suppose you are Shagorika and your friend is Rekha. There may be any name on the question paper, just to give you a name and your friend a name or someone other. So, now write a letter to her, that means to your friend, about a thirsty crow. That means the passage is about a thirsty crow. Remember to include these things in your letter: date, address, salutation, main points for the letter and closing. So, you have understood the letter is about a thirsty crow, but if you know anything about the thirsty crow, then you cannot write the letter. You have to read the passage. Without reading the passage well, you should not answer. So, read the passage. Let's start reading the passage now. Look, it was a hot summer day. The day was very hot because it was a summer day. A crow was very thirsty. He flew from one place to another. The crow was very thirsty and so he flew from one place to another. Why? In search of water. Since the crow was thirsty, that means the crow needs some water. He flew from one place to another in search of water. That means the crow was searching water here and there, everywhere. But there was not a drop of water anywhere. The crow was searching water, but there was not a drop of water anywhere. All the ponds and dishes, that means source of water. Ponds is smaller than river and dishes very small source of water. That means you can call it water logging. So, all the ponds and dishes had dried up. It dried up. That means there was not a drop of water. The crow flew a long distance. That means it was flying and flying in search of water. flew a long distance and was tired. It became very tired. Suddenly he saw, that means the crow saw a pitcher under a tree. Under a tree, the crow found a pitcher. The crow flew down, look at this word, flew down. That means the crow was high on the tree maybe, or it was flying. But now the crow flew down, that means it came down on the ground, that means under the tree, and sat on the pitcher. The crow now sat on the pitcher. He looked into the pitcher. The crow now looked into the pitcher. The pitcher had a little water. The pitcher had water, but it was very little. But the crow could not reach it. Since the pitcher had a little water, so the crow could not reach it. He looked around. The crow looked around and saw some pebbles. The crow looked some pebbles. Pebbles means some small stone. The crow found some small stones. He picked up the pebbles one by one with his beak. We have lip, same as the birds have beak. So the crow picked up, that means the crow picked up the pebbles one by one with his beak. He dropped them into the pitcher. The crow now dropped the pebbles into the pitcher. Soon the water came up to the mouth of the pitcher. Now the water came up because of dropping the pebbles. The water level now rose up and it came to the mouth of the pitcher. The crow drank the water and flew away happily. Finally, the crow could drink the water and it flew away happily. How? Because of using the radio wit. The crow was very witty. He used his radio wit to drink the water. So, after reading the passage, what have you learned? That means, one day a crow was very thirsty. He was searching water and he found no water everywhere. He was just searching and searching. Finally, he saw that there was a pitcher under a tree, but the pitcher had a little water. So, what did the crow do? Since the pitcher had little water, he could not reach to the water. So, he picked some pebbles and dropped them into the pitcher, and finally the water level rose up and the crow could reach it and drank the water. So, when the crow drank the water, he flew away happily. Now, look at the questions. The question is, suppose you are Shagorika and your friend is Rekha. I told you that there may be any name. Now, write a letter to her about a thirsty crow. That means that you have already read in the passage. But you have to remember these points. Remember to include these things in your letter. What are the things? One thing is date. That means when you write the letter, you have to write the date, on which date or on which day you are writing the letter. Then address. Address means your address, where from you are writing. Suppose you are writing the letter sitting in Faridpur, so write Faridpur. Suppose you are writing the letter sitting in Khulna, so write Khulna. Salutation. Salutation means greeting words. Suppose dear friend, dear father, dear brother, dear mother, like this, salutation. And now main points for the letter. Main points means, suppose date, very common. Every time when you write letter, you have to write the date. Address, the same, very common. And salutation, of course you have to greet anyone, but main points, it will differ for different letters. So, this is very important point, main points for the letter. And last on, closing, that means taking leave or farewell. So, these are the things 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So, 5 things are highlighted for class 4 or 5. to show on your letter that you will write. So keeping in mind these 5 things, you have to write the letter now based on the passage that you have read. Now we will try to write the letter. So today's lesson was letter writing. Now look at this answer to the question number 8 that you as usual do in your exam hall. You start like this, answer to the question number 8. Now start your answer. First point was date and address. So this is the date, 31st October 2020. This is the date. Suppose today's date I have written. So you will write the date on which day you are writing the letter, 31st October 2020. There was another point, address. What is the address? The place where you are writing. So I have written here Ziltuli, Faridpur. Suppose because we are writing the letter sitting in Faridpur. So I have written Ziltuli, Faridpur, the address and the date 31st October 2020. You can write the date under the, you can write the address under the date, no matter. Now look at this. There was two names. One was Shagorika and another is Rekha. There was written, suppose you are Shagorika and your friend is Rekha. So since your friend is Rekha, write to your friend and address her or salute her telling these words, dear Rekha. Now write some saluting words or greeting words to her. My salam and heartiest compliments go to you. You can start like this, my salam and heartiest compliments go to you. I hope that you are hale and hearty by the grace of Allah or Almighty Allah, whatever you write. I am also quite well. Look, this part will be always same for any letter you write. So I will suggest you to memorize these words because these are very common to every letter. So memorize these sentences. My salam and heartiest compliments go to you. Hope that you are hale and hearty by the grace of Allah. I am also quite well. Memorize this for writing any letter. Now, your creativity starts here. However, in your last letter, you wanted to know about a thirsty crow. You wanted to know about a thirsty crow, or you can write, yesterday I have read about a thirsty crow. So you can start in any way I have used 2 ways to start. However, in your last letter, you wanted to know about a thirsty crow. Now I am writing you about that. Or you can write, yesterday I have read about a thirsty crow. Now I am writing you about that. So this is the just starting of your letter and it should be memorized to write for any letter, to write any letter. Okay. Now look at this part. There was another point that is salutation, that is main points of the letter. These are the main points. Here you have to show your expertise. That means your creativity is fully shown here. You have to write these sentences completely by yourself. There is no function of memorizing. But you can take help from the passage that you have read. Look, there was in the passage, we learned that a crow was very thirsty in a hot summer day and it was searching water. Finally, he found a pitcher where there was very little water and the crow could drink the water by using his ready wit, that means throwing some pebbles. So I have written some sentences from there. Maybe some sentences will match with the main passage, or it will be created by yourself. Everything will be correct, but it cannot be exactly copied from the passage. So look, I have written some sentences. Once in a hot summer day, a crow became very thirsty. After searching a lot, he found a pitcher under a tree. But the pitcher had so little water that he could not reach it. By his ready wit, he dropped some pebbles into the pitcher. So the water came up to the mouth of the pitcher. At last, the crow drank water and flew away happily. So, in this way, you have to write some sentences here. If you can write only 3 to 4 sentences grammatically correct, I hope that you will get full marks in this later writing item. So, try to write 3 or 4 sentences correctly, taking help from the passage. Now you have to conclude, that means closing. For closing, some sentences will be also memorized, like the starting. So, memorize these sentences for any later. No more today, you must take care of your health. That means you don't want to talk to them anymore. You want to conclude here. So, no more today, you must take care of your health. Convey my best regards to your parents and love to the younger. I am looking forward to hearing from you soon. So, you are showing your respect to your friends' parents and love to the younger, that means younger brother or sister of your friend, and you are looking forward to hearing from you soon. That means you expect any answer from your friend. So, this part can also be memorized for any letter. So, memorize this part also. And finally, the closing, that means the farewell word. So, yours ever, Shagorika, that means you. Now you are taking leave. And at last, though it is not suggested in your letter writing, but you should do it, because without stamp or without envelope or stamp, you cannot send your letter. So, draw an envelope like this, and here write from and to, 2 points. From, one is from and another is to. To means your friend's address and from means your address. If you write here anything or not, it will not be very important matter, but in this part too, you have to write the full address. And so, here I have written in short, from Shagorika Sultana, Ziltuli Faridpur. And here I have written to Rekha Nazneen, house number 15, road number 3, block C, Mirpur 12, Dhaka 1216. And you have to draw and stamp here. Actually, this is the cost of sending your letter you are paying to the government. You have to buy it in your practical life, whatever it is, but you have to just draw for getting marks. So, this will be the letter writing. Just look at again. For writing letter, you have to read the passage well, you have to understand the passage well, then you have to read the questions, and you have to remember this point: date, address, salutation, main points for the letter, and closing. These 5 points you have to write in your letter. And then the practical letter, date and address. There was 5 points, so there it is 1 point. 1 and another one, 2, then 3 main points, main points for the letter. These are the main points, 3. And closing, this is another part, closing, 5 points, 4, number 4, closing. Okay. So for the points, that means date, address, main points, closing, and finally the stump. For this every part you will be given some marks. So dear students, since this part is completely based on your creativity, if you can write any sentences here or not, no matter, write the other parts that you have already memorized. And if you write these parts, you will get minimum more than 50% marks, because marks are divided. On these points: date, address, salutation, main points for the letter, and closing. Marks are divided for every part. So if you cannot write here some sentences for main points for the letter, no matter, write these parts that you have memorized: date, address, salutation, closing. You will get minimum 50% marks as a student of class 4. So dear students, I want to conclude here today, and before concluding, just a homework for you. Write a letter to your friend about describing your school. Write a letter to your friend describing your school, just to increase your creativity. If you write this letter by yourself, then it will be a practice of writing letter. So dear students, thank you. I hope that you will practice it and inbox me. And as usual, for COVID-19, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.